4. Appointed a band horse. Could he be content? Name equal to heaven, he's still not appeased. The gold star of Venus left the depths of the cave dwelling with the handsome monkey king, and together they rose by mounting the clouds. With the clouds somersault of Wukan, you see, is no common magic. His speed is tremendous. Soon he left the gold star far behind and arrived first at the south heaven gate. He was about to dismount from the cloud and go in when the Devaraja Viru Macron little 1E0DHK a leading pang. Liu, Ku, Bai, Ding, Zen, Zhang, and Tao, the various divine heroes, barred the way with spears, scimitars, swords, and halberds and refused them entrance. The Monkey King said, "What a deceitful fellow that gold star is. If old Monkey has been invited here, why have these people been ordered to use their swords and spears to bar my entrance?" He was protesting loudly when the gold star arrived in haste. "Old man," said Wukong angrily to his face, "why did you deceive me? You told me that I was invited by the Jade Emperor's decree of pacification. Why then did you get these people to block the heaven gate and prevent my entering? Let the great king calm down." The gold star said, laughing, "Since you have never been to the hall of heaven before, nor have you been given a name, you are quite unknown to the various heavenly guardians. How can they let you in on their own authority? Once you have seen the heavenly diva, received an appointment, and had your name listed in the immortal register, you can go in and out as you please. Who would then obstruct your way? If that's how it is," said Wukong, "it's all right, but I'm not going in by myself." "Then go in with me," said the gold star, pulling him by the hand. As they approached the gate, the gold star called out loudly, "Guardians of the heaven gate, lieutenants great and small, make way. This person is an immortal from the region below, whom I have summoned by the imperial decree of the Jade Emperor." The Devaraja Viru Macron little 1E0DHK and the various divine heroes immediately lowered their weapons and stepped aside, and the Monkey King finally believed what he had been told. He walked slowly inside with the gold star and looked around, for it was truly his first ascent to the region above, his sudden entrance into the hall of heaven, where 10,000 shafts of golden light whirled as a coral rainbow, and 1,000 layers of hallowed air diffused mist off purple. Look at that south heaven gate. Its deep shades of green, from glazed tiles were made, its radiant battlements, adorned with treasure jade. On two sides were posted scores of celestial sentinels, each of whom, standing tall beside the pillars, 49, carried bows and clutched banners. All around were sundry divine beings in golden armor, each of them holding halberds and whips, or wielding scimitars and swords. Impressive may be the outer court, overwhelming is the sight within. In the inner hall stood several huge pillars circled by red-whiskered dragons whose golden scales gleamed in the sun. There were, moreover, a few long bridges. Above them crimson-headed phoenixes circled with soaring plumes of many hues. Bright mist shimmered in the light of the sky. Green fog descending obscured the stars. 33 heavenly mansions were found up here, with names like the Scattered Cloud, the Via Iacute or Via Little 1E47, the Pankavidia, the Sayama, the NIRMA Macron little 1E47 or TI. On the roof of every mansion the rich held a stately golden beast. There were also the 72 treasure halls, with names like the Morning Assembly, the Transcendent Void, the Precious Light, the Heavenly King, the Divine Ministry. In every hall beneath the pillars stood rows of jade unicorn. On the platform of Canopus, there were flowers unfading in 1,000 millennia. Beside the oven for refining herbs, there were exotic grasses growing green for 10,000 years. He went before the tower of homage to the sage, where he saw robes of royal purple gauze brilliant as stars refulgent, caps the shape of hibiscus, resplendent with gold and precious stones, and pins of jade and shoes of pearl, and purple sashes and golden ornaments. When the golden bells swayed to their striking, the memorial of the three judges would cross the vermilion courtyard. When the drums of heaven were sounded, 10,000 sages of the royal audience would honor the Jade Emperor. He went, too, to the treasure hall of divine mist where nails of gold penetrate frames of jade, and colorful phoenixes danced atop scarlet doors. Here were covered bridges and winding corridors displaying everywhere openwork carvings most elegant, and eaves crowding together in layers 3 and 4, on each of which reared up phoenixes and dragons. There was high above a round dome big, bright, and brilliant. Its shape, a huge gourd of purple gold, below which guardian goddesses hung out seraphims and jade maidens held up their immortal veils. Ferocious were the sky marshals overseeing the court, dignified, the divine officials protecting the throne. There at the center, on a crystal platter, tablets of the great monad elixir were heaped, and rising out of the cornelian vases were several branches of twisting coral. So it was that rare goods of every order were found in heaven's hall, and nothing like them on earth could ever be seen. Those golden arches, silver coaches, and that heavenly house, those coraline blooms and jasper plants with their buds offshade. The jade rabbit passed the platform to adore the king. The golden crow flew by to worship the sage. Blessed was the monkey king coming to this heavenly realm, he who was not mired in the filthy soil of man. The gold star of Venus led the handsome monkey king to the treasure hall of divine mists, and, without waiting for further announcement, they went into the imperial presence. While the star prostrated himself, Wukong stood erect by him. Showing no respect, he cocked his ear only to listen to the report of the gold star. According to your decree, said the gold star, your subject has brought the bogus immortal. Which one is the bogus immortal? Asked the Jade Emperor graciously. Only then did Wukong bow and reply, none other than Old Monkey. Blanching with horror, the various divine officials said, that wild ape, already he has failed to prostrate himself before the throne, and now he dares to come forward with such an insolent reply as none other than Old Monkey. He is worthy of death, worthy of death. That fellow's son Wukong is a bogus immortal from the region below, announced the Jade Emperor, and he has only recently acquired the form of a human being. We shall pardon him this time for his ignorance of court etiquette. Thank you, your majesty, cried the various divine officials. Only then did the Monkey King bow deeply with folded hands and utter a cry of gratitude. The Jade Emperor then ordered the divine officials, both civil and military, to see what vacant appointment there might be for son Wukong to receive. From the side came the star spirit of Wuk, who reported, in every mansion and hall everywhere in the palace of heaven, there is no lack of ministers. Only at the imperial stables is a supervisor needed. Let him be made a ban horse plague, proclaimed the Jade Emperor. The various subjects again shouted their thanks, but Monkey only bowed deeply and gave a loud whoop of gratitude. The Jade Emperor then sent the star spirit of Jupiter to accompany him to the stables. The Monkey King went happily with the star spirit of Jupiter to the stables in order to assume his duties. After the star spirit had returned to his own mansion, the new officer gathered together the deputy and assistant supervisors, the accountants and stewards, and other officials both great and small, and made thorough investigation of all the affairs of the stables. There were about 1,000 celestial horses, and they were all Eualius and Chizai's lures and Zionles, consorts of dragons and purple swallows, folded wings and suxians, Judies and silver hooves, Daniels and flying yellows, chestnuts and faster than arrows, red hares and speedier than lights, leaping lights and vaulting shadows, rising fogs and triumphant yellows, wind chasers and distance breakers, flying pinions and surging airs, rushing winds and fiery lightnings, copper sparrows and drifting clouds, dragon-like peebles and tiger-like pintos, dust quenchers and purple scales, and furgonas from the four corners. Like the HDs and 9 stallions, they have no rivals within 1,000 miles. Such are these fine horses, every one of which neighs like the wind and gallops like thunder to show a mighty spirit. They tread the mist and mount the clouds with unflagging strength. Our Monkey King went through the list and made a thorough inspection of the horses. Within the imperial stables, the accountants were in charge of getting supplies. The stewards groomed and washed the horses, chopped hay, watered them, and prepared their food, and the deputies and assistants saw to the overall management. Never resting, the Bema oversaw the care of the horses, fussing with them by day and watching over them diligently by night. Those horses that wanted to sleep were stirred up and fed. Those that wanted to gallop were caught and placed in the stalls. When the celestial horses saw him, they all behaved most properly, and they were so well cared for that their flanks became swollen with fat. More than half a month soon went by, and on one leisurely morning, the various department ministers gave a banquet to welcome and congratulate him. While they were drinking happily, the Monkey King suddenly put down his cup and asked, "What sort of rank is this ban horse plague of mine?" The rank and the title are the same, they said. "But what ministerial grade is it?" "It does not have a grade," they said. "If it does not have a grade," said the Monkey King, "I suppose it must be the very highest." "Not at all," they replied. "It can only be called the unclassified." The Monkey King said, "What do you mean by the unclassified?" "It is really the meanest level," they said. "This kind of minister is the lowest of the low ranks, hence he can only look after horses. Take the case of your honor, who, since your arrival, have been so diligent in discharging your duties. If the horses are fattened, you will only earn yourself a fairly good. If they look at all thin, you will be roundly rebuked. And if they are seriously hurt or wounded, you will be prosecuted and fined." When the Monkey King heard this, fire leaped up from his heart. So vast the contempt they have for old monkey. He cried angrily, gnashing his teeth. At the flower fruit mountain I was honored as king and patriarch. How dare they trick me into coming to look after horses for them, if horse tending is such a menial service, reserved only for the young and lowly? Is such treatment worthy of me? I am leaving right now. With a crash, he kicked over his official desk and took the treasure out of his ear. One wave of his hand and it had the thickness of a rice bowl. Delivering blows in all directions, he fought his way out of the imperial stables and went straight to the South Heaven Gate. The various celestial guardians, knowing that he had been officially appointed a ban horse plague, did not dare stop him and allowed him to fight his way out of the Heaven Gate. In a moment, he lowered the direction of his cloud and returned to the Flower Fruit Mountain. The four mighty commanders were seen drilling troops with the monster kings of various caves. Little ones, this monkey king cried in a loud voice, old monkey has returned. The flock of monkeys all came to kowtow and received him into the depths of the cave dwelling. As the monkey king ascended his throne, they busily prepared a banquet to welcome him. Receive our congratulations, great king, they said. Having gone to the region above for more than 10 years, you must be returning in success and glory. I have been away for only half a month, said the monkey king. How can it be more than 10 years? Great king, said the various monkeys, you are not aware of time and season when you are in heaven. One day in heaven above is equal to a year on earth. May we ask the great king what ministerial appointment he received? Don't mention that, said the monkey king, waving his hand. It embarrasses me to death. That jade emperor does not know how to use talent. Seeing the features of old monkey, he appointed me to something called the ban horse plague, which actually means taking care of horses for him. It's a job too low even to be classified. I didn't know this when I first assumed my duties, and so I managed to have some fun at the imperial stables. But when I asked my colleagues today, I discovered what a degraded position it was. I was so furious that I knocked over the banquet they were giving me and rejected the title. That's why I came back down. Welcome back, said the various monkeys. Welcome back. Our great king can be the sovereign of this blessed cave dwelling with the greatest honor and happiness. Why should he go away to be someone's stable boy? Little ones, they cried, send up the wine quickly and cheer up our great king. As they were drinking wine and conversing happily, someone came to report. Great king, there are 2 one-horned demon kings outside who want to see you. Show them in, said the monkey king. The demon kings straightened out their attire, ran into the cave, and prostrated themselves. Why did you want to see me? Asked the handsome monkey king. We have long heard that the great king is receptive to talents, said the demon kings, but we had no reason to request your audience. Now we learn that our great king has received a divine appointment and has returned in success and glory. We have come, therefore, to present the great king with a red and yellow robe for his celebration. If you are not disdainful of the uncouth and the lowly and are willing to receive us plebeians, we shall serve you as dogs or as horses. Highly pleased, the monkey king put on the red and yellow robe while the rest of them lined up joyfully and did homage. He then appointed the demon kings to be the vanguard commanders, marshals of the forward regiments. After expressing their thanks, the demon kings asked again, since our great king was in heaven for a long time, may we ask what kind of appointment he received? The jade emperor belittles the talented, said the monkey king. He only made me something called the ban horse plague. Hearing this, the demon king said again, great king has such divine powers. Why should you take care of horses for him? What is there to stop you from assuming the rank of the great sage equal to heaven? When the monkey king heard these words, he could not conceal his delight, shouting repeatedly, bravo, bravo. Make me a banner immediately. He ordered the 4 mighty commanders, and inscribe on it in large letters, the great sage equal to heaven. Erect a pole to hang it on. From now on, address me only as the great sage equal to heaven, and the title great king will no longer be permitted. The monster kings of the various caves will also be informed so that it will be known to all. Of this we shall speak no further. We now refer to the Jade Emperor, who held court the next day. The celestial master Jean was seen leading the deputy and the assistant of the imperial stables to come before the vermilion courtyard. Your Majesty, they said, prostrating themselves, the newly appointed ban horse plague, Sun Wukong, objected to his rank as being too low and left the heavenly palace yesterday in rebellion. Meanwhile, the Devarajavi or Umakon Little 1E0D Hakea, leading the various celestial guardians from the South Heaven Gate, also made the report. The ban horse plague, for reasons unknown to us, has walked out of the Heaven Gate. When the Jade Emperor heard this, he made the proclamation. Let the two divine commanders and their followers return to their duties. We shall send forth celestial soldiers to capture this monster. From among the ranks, Devarajali, who was the pagoda bearer, and his third prince and a little 160 came forward and presented their request, saying, Your Majesty, though your humble subjects are not gifted, we await your authorization to subdue this monster. Delighted, the Jade Emperor appointed pagoda bearer Devarajali Jing to be Grand Marshal for subduing the monster, and promoted third prince and a little 160 to be the great deity in charge of the three-platform assembly of the saints. They were to lead an expeditionary force at once for the region below. Devarajali and Anna little 160 count out to take leave and went back to their own mansion. After reviewing the troops and their captains and lieutenants, they appointed Mighty Spirit God to be vanguard commander, the fish-bellied general to bring up the rear, and the general of the YK little 163 S to urge the troops on. In a moment they left by the South Heaven Gate and went straight to the Flower Fruit Mountain. A level piece of land was selected for encampment, and the order was then given to the Mighty Spirit God to provoke battle. Having received his order and having buckled and knotted his armor properly, the Mighty Spirit God grasped his spreading flower axe and came to the water curtain cave. There in front of the cave he saw a great mob of monsters, all of them wolves, insects, tigers, leopards, and the like. They were all jumping and growling, brandishing their swords and waving their spears. Damnable beasts, shouted the Mighty Spirit God. Hurry and tell the band horse plague that I, a great general from heaven, have by the authorization of the Jade Emperor come to subdue him. Tell him to come out quickly and surrender, lest all of you be annihilated. Running pell-mell into the cave, those monsters shouted the report, Disaster, disaster. What sort of disaster? Asked the Monkey King. There. It's a celestial warrior outside, said the monsters, who claims the title of an imperial envoy. He says he came by the holy decree of the Jade Emperor to subdue you, and he orders you to go out quickly and surrender, lest we lose our lives. Hearing this, the Monkey King commanded, Get my battle dress. He quickly donned his red gold cap, pulled on his yellow gold cuirass, slipped on his cloud-treading shoes, and seized the compliant golden hoop rod. He led the crowd outside and set them up in battle formation. The Mighty Spirit God opened wide his eyes and stared at this magnificent Monkey King. The gold cuirass worn on his body was brilliant and bright. The gold cap on his head also glistened in the light. In his hands was a staff, the golden hoop rod, that what became the cloud-treading shoes on his feet. His eyes glowered strangely like burning stars. Hanging past his shoulders were two ears, forked and horned. His remarkable body knew many ways of change, and his voice resounded like bells and chimes. This band horse played with beaked mouth and gaping teeth, aimed high to be the equal to heaven's sage. Lawless ape. The Mighty Spirit God roared powerfully, Do you recognize me? When the great sage heard these words, he asked quickly, What sort of dog-witted deity are you? Old Monkey has yet to meet you. State your name at once. Fraudulent Simeon, cried the Mighty Spirit. What do you mean, you don't recognize me? I'm the celestial general of Mighty Spirit, the vanguard commander and subordinate to Devarajali, the pagoda bearer, from the divine Empyrean. I have come by the imperial decree of the Jade Emperor to receive your submission. Strip yourself of your apparel immediately and yield to the heavenly grace, so that this mountain full of creatures can avoid execution. If you dare but utter half a no, you will be reduced to powder in seconds. When the Monkey King heard those words, he was filled with anger. Reckless simpleton, he cried, Stop bragging and wagging your tongue. I would have killed you with one stroke of my rod, but then I would have no one to communicate my message. So, you'll spare your life for the moment. Go back to heaven quickly and inform the Jade Emperor that he has no regard for talent. Oh, Monkey has unlimited abilities. Why did he ask me to mind horses for him? Take a good look at the words on this band. If I'm promoted according to his title, I will lay down my arms, and the cosmos will then be fair and tranquil. But if he does not agree to my demand, he'll fight my way up to the treasure hall of divine mists, and he won't even be able to sit on his dragon throne. When the Mighty Spirit God heard these words, he opened his eyes wide, facing the wind, and saw indeed a tall pole outside the cave. On the pole hung a banner bearing in large letters the words, The Great Sage, equal to heaven. The Mighty Spirit God laughed scornfully 3 times and jeered, Lawless ape, how fatuous can you be, and how arrogant? So you want to be the great sage, equal to heaven. Be good enough to take a bit of my axe first. Aiming at his head, he hacked at him, but, being a knowledgeable fighter, the Monkey King was not unnerved. He met the blow at once with his golden hoop rod, and this exciting battle was on. The rod was named Compliant, The axe was called Spreading Flower. The two of them, meeting suddenly, did not yet know their weakness or strength. But axe and rod clashed left and right. One concealed secret powers most wondrous. The other vaunted openly his vigor and might. They used magic, blowing out cloud and puffing up fog. They stretched their hands, splattering mud and spraying sand. The might of the celestial battler had its way, but the monkey had boundless power of change. The rod uplifted. The dragon played in water. The axe arrived. A phoenix sliced through flowers. Mighty spirit, whose name spread through the world, and prowess truly could not match the other one. The great sage whirling lightly his iron staff could numb the body with one blow on the head. The mighty spirit god could oppose him no longer and allowed the monkey king to aim a mighty blow at his head, which he hastily sought to parry with his axe. With a crack the axe handle split in two. The mighty spirit turned swiftly to flee for his life. Imbecile, imbecile, laughed the monkey king. I've already spared you. Go and report my message at once. Back at the camp, the mighty spirit god went straight to see the pagoda bearer Devaraj. Huffing and puffing, he knelt down saying, the ban horse plague indeed has great magic powers. Your unworthy warrior cannot prevail against him. Defeated, I have come to beg your pardon. This fellow has blunted our will to fight, said Devaraj angrily. Take him out and have him executed. From the side came Prince Enalita, who said, bowing deeply, let your anger subside, Father King, and pardon for the moment the guilt of mighty spirit. Permit your child to go into battle once, and we shall know the long and short of the matter. The Devaraja heeded the admonition and ordered mighty spirit to go back to his camp and await trial. This Prince Enalita, properly armed, leaped from his camp and dashed to the water curtain cave. Wukong was just dismissing his troops when he saw Enalita approaching fiercely. Dear Prince, two boyish tufts barely cover his skull. His flowing hair has yet to reach the shoulders. A rare mind, alert and intelligent. A noble frame, pure and elegant. He is indeed the unicorn son from heaven above, truly immortal as the phoenix of mist and smoke. This seed of dragon has by nature uncommon features. His tender age shows no relation to any worldly kin. He carries on his body 6 kinds of magic weapons. He flies, he leaps, he can change without restriction. Now by the golden-mouthed proclamation of the Jade Emperor, he is appointed to the assembly. Its name, the 3 platforms. Wukong drew near and asked, whose little brother are you, and what do you want? Origin through my gate, lawless monstrous monkey, shouted Enalita, Don, do you recognize me? I'm Enalita, third son of the pagoda bearer Devaraj. I'm under the imperial commission of the Jade Emperor to come and arrest you. What up, though? It's Big Snoop D-O-double-G.
You, little prince.
Greetings, I'm Henry, here.
What up, though? It's Big Snoop, said Wukong laughing. Your baby teeth haven't even fallen out, and your natal hair is still damp. How dare you talk so big? I'm going to spare your life, and I won't fight you. Just take a look at the words on my banner and report them to the Jade Emperor above. Grant me this title, and you won't need to stir your forces. I will submit on my own. If you don't satisfy my cravings, I will surely fight my way up to the treasure hall of divine mists. Lifting his head to look, Enalita saw the words, Great Sage, equal to heaven. What great power does this monstrous monkey possess? Said Enalita, that he dares claim such a title. Fear not, swallow my sword. I'll just stand here quietly, said Wukong, and you can take a few hacks at me with your sword. Young Enalita grew angry. Change. He yelled loudly, and he changed at once into a fearsome person having 3 heads and 6 arms. In his hands he held 6 kinds of weapons, a monster stabbing sword, a monster cleaving scimitar, a monster binding rope, a monster taming club, an embroidered ball, and a fiery wheel. Brandishing these weapons, he mounted a frontal attack. This little brother does know a few tricks, said Wukong, somewhat alarmed by what he saw. But don't be rash. Watch my magic. Dear great sage, he shouted, change. And he too transformed himself into a creature with 3 heads and 6 arms. One wave of the golden hoop rod and it became 3 staffs, which were held with 6 hands. The conflict was truly earth-shaking and made the very mountains tremble. What a battle. 57. The 6-armed prince Enalita, the heaven-born handsome stone monkey king. Meeting, each met his match and found each to be from the same source. One was consigned to come down to earth. The other in guile disturbed the universe. The edge of the monster's stabbing sword was quick. The king, monster cleaving scimitar alarmed demons and gods. The monster binding rope was like a flying snake. The monster taming club was like the head of a wolf. The lightning propellant fury wheel was like darting flames. Hither and thither the embroidered ball rotated. The three compliant rods of the great sage protected the front and guarded the rear with care and skill. A few rounds of bitter contest revealed no victor, but the prince's mind would not so easily rest. He ordered the 6 kinds of weapon to change into hundreds and thousands of millions, aiming for the head. The Monkey King, undaunted, roared with laughter loud, and wielded his iron rod with artful ease. One turned to 1,000, 1,000 to 10,000, filling the sky as a swarm of dancing dragons, and shot the monster kings of sundry caves into shutting their doors. Demons and monsters all over the mountain hid their heads. The angry breath of divine soldiers was like oppressive clouds. The gold-nuked iron rod whizzed like the wind. On this side, the battle cries of celestial fighters appalled everyone. On that side, the banner waving of monkey monsters startled each person. Growing fierce, the two parties both wielded a test of strength. We know not who was stronger and who weaker, each displaying his divine powers. The third prince and Wukong battled for 30 rounds. The 6 weapons of that prince changed into 1,000 and 10,000 pieces. The gold-nuked rod of Sun Wukong into 10,000 and 1,000. They clashed like raindrops and meteors in the air, but victory or defeat was not yet determined. Wukong, however, proved to be the one swifter of eye and hand. Right in the midst of the confusion, he plucked a piece of hair and shouted, "Change." It changed into a copy of him, also wielding a rod in his hands and deceiving N a little 1e60. His real person leaped behind N a little 1e60 and struck his left shoulder with the rod. N a little 1e60, still performing his magic, heard the rod whizzing through the air and tried desperately to dodge it. Unable to move quickly enough, he took the blow and fled in pain. Breaking off his magic and gathering up his 6 weapons, he returned to his camp in defeat. Standing in front of his battle line, Devarajali saw what was happening and was about to go to his son's assistance. The prince, however, came to him first and gasped, "Father King, the Ban-Horse plague is truly powerful. Even your son of such magical strength is no match for him. He has wounded me in the shoulder. If this fellow is so powerful," said the Devaraja, turning pale with fright, "how can we beat him?" The prince said, "In front of his cave he has set up a banner bearing the words, 'The Great Sage, equal to heaven.'" By his own mouth he boastfully asserted that if the Jade Emperor appointed him to such a title, all troubles would cease. If he were not given this name, he would surely fight his way up to the treasure hall of divine mists. "If that's the case," said the Devaraja, "let's not fight with him for the moment. Let us return to the region above and report these words. There will be time then for us to send for more celestial soldiers and take this fellow on all sides." The prince was in such pain that he could not do battle again. He therefore went back to heaven with the Devaraja to report, of which we speak no further. Look at that Monkey King returning to his mountain in triumph. The monster kings of 72 caves and the 6 sworn brothers all came to congratulate him, and they feasted jubilantly in the blessed cave dwelling. He then said to the 6 brothers, "If little brother is now called the Great Sage, equal to heaven, why don't all of you assume the title of Great Sage also?" "Our worthy brother's words are right," shouted the Bull Monster King from their midst. "I'm going to be called the Great Sage, parallel with heaven." "I shall be called the Great Sage, covering the ocean," said the Dragon Monster King. "I shall be called the Great Sage, united with heaven," said the Garuda Monster King. "I shall be called the Great Sage, mover of mountains," said the Giant Lynx King. "I shall be called the Telltale Great Sage," said the Macaque King. "And I shall be called the God-routing Great Sage," said the Orangutan King. At that moment, the 7 great sages had complete freedom to do as they pleased and to call themselves whatever titles they liked. They had fun for a whole day and then dispersed. Now we return to the Devaraja and the third prince, who, leading the other commanders, went straight to the treasure hall of divine mist to give this report. "By your holy decree, your subjects led the expeditionary force down to the region below to subdue the baneful immortal, Sun Wukong. We had no idea of his enormous power, and we could not prevail against him. We beseech your majesty to give us reinforcements to wipe him out." "How powerful can we expect one baneful monkey to be?" asked the Jade Emperor. "That reinforcements are needed. May your majesty pardon us from an offense worthy of death," said the prince, drawing closer. "That baneful monkey wielded an iron rod. He defeated first the mighty spirit god and then wounded the shoulder of your subject. Outside the door of his cave, he set up a banner bearing the words, "The Great Sage, equal to heaven." He said that if he were given such a rank, he would lay down his arms and come to declare his allegiance. If not, he would fight his way up to the treasure hall of divine mists. "How dare this baneful monkey be so insolent?" exclaimed the Jade Emperor, astonished by what he had heard. "We must order the generals to have him executed at once." As he said this, the gold star of Venus came forward again from the ranks and said, "The baneful monkey knows how to make a speech, but he has no idea what's appropriate and what isn't. Even if reinforcements are sent to fight him, I don't think he can be subdued right away without taxing our forces. It would be better if your majesty were greatly to extend your mercy and proclaim yet another decree of pacification. Let him indeed be made the great sage, equal to heaven. He will be given an empty title, in short, rank without compensation." "What do you mean by rank without compensation?" said the Jade Emperor. The gold star said, "His name will be Great Sage, equal to heaven, but he will not be given any official duty or salary. We shall keep him here in heaven so that we may put his perverse mind at rest and make him desist from his madness and arrogance. The universe will then be calm and the oceans tranquil again." Hearing these words, the Jade Emperor said, "We shall follow the counsels of our minister." He ordered the mandate to be made up and the gold star to bear it hence. The gold star left through the south heaven gate once again and headed straight for the flower fruit mountain. Outside the water curtain cave, things were quite different from the way they had been the previous time. He found the entire region filled with the awesome and bellicose presence of every conceivable kind of monster, each one of them clutching swords and spears, wielding scimitars and staffs. Growling and leaping about, they began to attack the gold star the moment they saw him. "You chieftains, hear me," said the gold star. "Let me trouble you to report this to your great sage. I'm the heavenly messenger sent by the Lord above, and I bear an imperial decree of invitation." The various monsters ran inside to report. "There is an old man outside who says that he is a heavenly messenger from the region above, bearing a decree of invitation for you." "Welcome, welcome," said Wukong. "He must be that gold star of Venus who came here last time. Although it was a shabby position they gave me when he invited me up to the region above, I nevertheless made it to heaven once and familiarized myself with the ins and outs of the celestial passages. He has come again this time undoubtedly with good intentions." He commanded the various chieftains to wave the banners and beat the drums, and to draw up the troops in receiving order. Leading the rest of the monkeys, the great sage donned his cap and his cuirass, over which he tossed a red and yellow robe, and slipped on the cloud shoes. He ran to the mouth of the cave, bowed courteously, and said in a loud voice, "Please come in, old star. Forgive me for not coming out to meet you." The gold star strode forward and entered the cave. He stood facing south and declared, "Now I inform the great sage, because the great sage has objected to the meanness of his previous appointment and removed himself from the imperial stables, the officials of that department, both great and small, reported the matter to the Jade Emperor." The proclamation of the Jade Emperor said at first, "All appointed officials advance from lowly positions to exalted ones." Why should he object to that arrangement? This led to the campaign against you by Devaraj and in a little 1E60. They were ignorant of the great sage's power and therefore suffered defeat. They reported back to heaven that you had set up a banner that made known your desire to be the great sage, equal to heaven. The various martial officials still wanted to deny your request. It was this old man who, risking offense, pleaded the case of the great sage, so that he might be invited to receive a new appointment and without the use of force. The Jade Emperor accepted my suggestion. Hence I am here to invite you. I caused you trouble last time, said Wukong, laughing, and now I'm again indebted to you for your kindness. Thank you, thank you. But is there really such a rank as the great sage, equal to heaven, up there? I made certain that this title was approved, said the gold star, before I dared come with the decree. If there is any mishap, let this old man be held responsible. Wukong was highly pleased, but the gold star refused his earnest invitation to stay for a banquet. He therefore mounted the hallowed cloud with the gold star and went to the south heaven gate, where they were welcomed by the celestial generals and guardians with hands folded at their breasts. Going straight into the treasure hall of divine mists, the gold star prostrated himself and memorialized, "Your subject, by your decree, has summoned here Ben Horseplague's son Wukong. Have that son Wukong come forward," said the Jade Emperor. "I now proclaim you to be the great sage, equal to heaven, a position of the highest rank, but you must indulge no more in your preposterous behavior." Bowing deeply, the monkey uttered a great whoop of thanks. The Jade Emperor then ordered 2 building officials, Zhang and Liu, to erect the official residence of the great sage, equal to heaven, to the right of the Garden of Immortal Peaches. Inside the mansion, 2 departments were established, named Peace and Quiet and Serene Spirit, both of which were full of attending officials. The Jade Emperor also ordered the star spirits of 5 poles to accompany Wukong to assume his post. In addition, 2 bottles of imperial wine and 10 clusters of golden flowers were bestowed on him, with the order that he must keep himself under control and make up his mind to indulge no more in preposterous behavior. The Monkey King obediently accepted the command and went that day with the star spirits to assume his post. He opened the bottles of wine and drank them all with his colleagues. After seeing the star spirits off to their own palaces, he settled down in complete contentment and delight to enjoy the pleasures of heaven without the slightest worry or care. Truly, his name divine, forever recorded in the long life book, and kept from falling into S***143 S.A. Macarnara, will long be known. We do not know what took place hereafter. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter. 5.